Did you guys eat at Stackers? Oh, that's, yeah. Yeah, you can go wherever you want.
You're live.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll I'll probably look dead here if that's okay with you guys. Good? So just for starters, this is going to be a pretty lengthy one. Um, I'll take questions at the end. If I confuse anyone, I hope I don't. I'm Sergeant Melissa Solis. That's Melissa Soliz, a sergeant with the Phoenix Police Department, Public Affairs Bureau. So earlier today, around 3 p.m., our officers responded to a call of an armed robbery near 7th Street and Thunderbird Road. Information on the call stated a man was inside the bank, armed with a rifle, and had some type of explosive device in his hand. After the man took money and left the bank, he got into his vehicle and began to leave the area. At this same time, a citizen that witnessed this began to follow that suspect vehicle in his own vehicle while somebody called 911. Luckily, our police helicopter was nearby the area, already launched overhead, with an additional sergeant on the ground driving in an unmarked pickup truck. While units were responding to this radio traffic of armed robbery, our air unit picked up the suspect vehicle near I-17 and Thunderbird Road, driving southbound. The air unit continued to follow the suspect vehicle as the suspect vehicle got off on Cactus Road. The vehicle went westbound on Cactus and then made a left turn onto 28th Drive, which is behind us. Suspect vehicle then turned into a strip mall, which is right behind us, got out of his vehicle, and began shooting up at our air unit. At this time, our sergeant driving the unmarked pickup truck fired his weapon at the suspect, striking him. The suspect got back into his vehicle and drove off southbound on 28th Drive. Our air unit picked him back up, and the suspect vehicle ended up driving into a parking lot on the east side of the street on 28th Drive, just down the road here. Additional arriving officers went and detained the suspect. The fire department was called. They responded and they transported the suspect to the hospital, where he is suffering serious injuries. Because of the nature of the call, officers restricted this entire area, and our bomb squad was called. Our bomb squad unit arrived, and they processed and methodically searched through and assessed the suspect's vehicle in looking for any type of suspicious device. While searching inside that vehicle or assessing the vehicle, they found an improvised explosive device inside the car. Our bomb squad took custody of that and took it away from our scene. Our police helicopter, decided to do an emergency landing on 28th Drive in Larkspur, which is just north of us north of Cactus, in order to assess any type of damages or injuries. None of our officers were injured on this scene. Our helicopter was not struck by gunfire, and all of the workers and customers and citizens that were inside the bank during this incident were not injured. I know that was a lot of information. If you need me to repeat anything or explain anything, I'll try to do that my best.
What bank was it the original call came in for?
I don't have the exact address, but it was near 7th Street in Thunderbird.
So it wasn't the SunWest right here?
Correct, it was not. It was not. That business is where the suspect drove after the shooting, and that's where he ended up.
So when the suspect drives into the parking lot, just want to make it clear, he starts firing at the helicopter first, then the officer comes into contact with him, fires at him, hitting him in the parking lot here. Then the suspect gets back into his car, drives across the street.
That is correct. So the suspect drives southbound on 28th Drive, gets out of his car, starts shooting up at our air unit, and this is when our sergeant driving the unmarked car engages that subject, firing his weapon, striking the suspect. The suspect then drives southbound, drives into a business parking lot, and that's where he's taken into custody.
How crazy could this scene have become today? Obviously, with everything starting that chase or the pursuit, or him trying to speed away down I-17, him coming into this parking lot, firing shots. People are, in this parking lot or in the strip mall. How much of a different scene could this have been today, considering all of the factors that went into it?
Extremely different. Extremely different. We're very fortunate that there were no community members hurt by this. I mean, we have to remember how this started, even before the officer-involved shooting. These customers that were inside the bank, the workers that don't expect this to happen, what they had to witness, what they had to see. I mean, it's going to be traumatizing for anyone that's been involved in this, and it could have went horrible.
What do you guys know about the suspect at this point?
This is still very, very early. As you can imagine, we have multiple scenes everywhere. It took a very long time to even relay all this information, gather all this information, but something about the suspect's history and involvement, or in this case, potentially maybe other cases, that's something that we're definitely going to begin to start to look into.
Talk about the
There was an
person.
explosive device that was found inside his vehicle?
Correct. There was an improvised explosive device that was found inside his vehicle.
What is that exactly?
I'm not a bomb squad expert, but from what I am told, it's an improvised device, and that's the best way I can describe it is it's live. It's a live device.
Okay, Sergeant, I was going to ask you, was it a dummy grenade? But was it a live grenade?
It was a live improvised explosive device.
Not a grenade?
It was described as a device, and I'm hoping to, during, as you guys know, with the CIB videos that will be released within 14 days, to provide some type of pictures for context.
Okay, let's talk about the person. I was following along until he said this was not a fake. The person that noticed the person robbing. Where was that? Was that here that he noticed that? Like, where did he come into play? This random person who decided to go after the suspect. Where did that come into play?
So the original call came out near 7th Street in Thunderbird. So everything originated at 7th Street in Thunderbird. That's where our calls for service came in at, with the description of the suspect vehicle, as well as the citizen that might be following behind from a safe distance. Our air unit just so happened to be very relatively close to this and was able to pick up the suspect vehicle on the freeway on I-17 in Thunderbird, and then that's how they ended up over here.
And what would you say to that person? Because I'm sure I'll know what you're going to say, but what would you say to somebody who says, "Ooh, I see this, let me go follow"?
It's a very dangerous thing. I mean, we know now that he was obviously armed and that he did have an improvised explosive device on him. It's dangerous. It was courageous. It's very dangerous. It's dangerous. We always ask, just be a very good witness. Call 911 when you see anything. Be able to give as best details as you can, and just be a good witness.
Don't jump in.
Don't jump in. Don't try and apprehend anybody. Don't try and stop anything.
Can you give us any type of description of the suspect at all? Age, nationality, anything like that? Can you give us any description?
He's an adult male. I don't have much for you on that one.
So he walks into the bank with the rifle and one of the explosive devices in his hands as he's walking into the bank. He has both of those in his hands, according to the witnesses, as he's walking into the bank.
So the suspect actually enters the bank carrying some type of bag or duffel bag, and yes, he does have a rifle style gun. Again, I don't know the specifics on what type, and what is described by some witnesses as some type of explosive device.
Did he take that bag did he take the bag with him, or is that what you guys found in the car, or was the bag left at the scene?
There is a lot of evidence to be processed that was found inside his vehicle, and that's something that they're still sifting through and trying to figure out and piece everything together.
When was he shot? Because was he already doing this thing? He got here, then he shot at the law enforcement chopper, and another sergeant who was on the ground shot him at that point, and he got in the car again, and that's when police noticed he was hit. Like, when did that happen? When was he hit by a bullet?
So he was right when he turned south on 28th Drive from Cactus here. Somewhere right behind us in there is when he gets out of his car and he starts shooting up at our air unit. Our air unit has to move away to get out of the orbit just for their own safety, and that's when our sergeant that's driving an unmarked pickup truck engages this suspect shooting.
Is he dead or alive?
The suspect is alive. The suspect is alive at the hospital, suffering serious injuries.
Okay. What kind of charges? I mean, we probably know some of the obvious, but he shot at a law enforcement aircraft. Is that a federal charge or is that going to be a state charge?
I mean, he's looking at several charges as well, stemming from the armed robbery. That's something that we have multiple detectives from different bureaus looking in at all of this.
You said serious injuries. Are those life-threatening injuries?
I don't have an update as of right now on what his injuries are.
You're a sergeant, so you've been around a while. How often have you seen something like this? I mean, you see a lot, but for someone to shoot at an aircraft, that's dangerous in any environment. But a law enforcement aircraft, when was the last time you seen something like this happen?
Officer-involved shootings are, I mean, you never know what you're gonna get when this was a very dangerous one that could have, like you guys mentioned, this could have went bad in so many ways, at so many different times. Something worse could have happened. So we're just very fortunate that there was no community member that was hit. There was no officer that was injured or shot. We got lucky tonight.
So this man had a rifle and an explosive. I mean, is this just somebody trying to rob a bank, or was there motive to potentially think he was trying to do more than that with the weapons that he had?
It would be wrong for me to speculate on what his motive is right now. Our detectives haven't even had a chance to interview him or dig into his past or what's going on or what he was thinking at this time. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sergeant.